What do you mean you didn't watch all of Shameless? Are you serious? What the fuck, you guys?
Shit.
I have to do this for you? You want me to tell you what happened? All right, well, buckle up, Buttercup. Let's go Shameless.
Welcome to Last Time On. This is the podcast for people who want to watch all this prestige television, but who's got time for that?
I know I don't.
I definitely don't. And who's this new person in the studio we have here? Can we ask them, do you have time? Who are you?
Who are you?
Do you know who I am?
Apparently I do have time because I have watched all of Shameless. I'm Laura.
I'm Xhafer.
I'm Victor.
And I am Ben.
And we're here today to have Shameless recapped for us in one episode. We're joined by Laura, who listeners may know from my other podcast, Who Are You? She is going to be our Shameless expert today and going to recount the plot, the things that we missed from Shameless. Laura, you started watching Shameless right around the same time we started watching Shameless.
Yeah, I was a little bit before because I was like, you guys have to do Shameless. I had just gotten into it. And my gateway drug to Shameless was The Bear. So
wow.
I know there's been
That
discussion about that.
I thought you were going to say Jurassic Park 3.
Amanda, honey, Dr. Grant said that's a bad idea.
What?
He says it's a bad idea.
What's a bad idea?
That's a big no from me, dog.
And I got to say, I think I understand why Laura recommended this Shameless, because since we finished our last episode recording and our predictions are all out of the way, I went ahead and started watching this from the beginning. And I have to say, Xhafer, I think you discovered something here. I think you made an accidental discovery with your LTO algorithm. Yeah, and all the best discoveries throughout history are accidental, aren't they? Because, wasn't penicillin discovered when someone tried to make a fucking peanut butter jelly sandwich or some shit?
They left a mold out and discovered it.
Yeah,
he was trying to make a better sandwich, and
cool
he
mold,
discovered penicillin. And Ben Franklin was trying to fly a kite when... So anyway, whatever. But
that one was very much on purpose.
No. Okay, so anyway, I started rewatching Shameless from the beginning, and I gotta say, it's a different experience doing it after we did our randomized episodes. Seeing the pieces fall into place, I think we're onto something here. This is a very interesting experience. I dare say it's a more enjoyable viewing experience than if I would have watched it chronologically. Because, I know things are going to happen, but then seeing how they happen... I won't give any spoilers here, but, we already know it's a spoiler that Frank gets a new liver. The sequence of events that happen to where he gets his new liver are so just mind-boggling. It's not what I expected at all. So I definitely recommend rewatching it because it's a really interesting experience. Now, so yeah, I think we might have got lightning in a bottle somehow.
I do have one very important question for Laura, just cutting right to the quick of it.
Just right off the dome. Okay.
When does Ian go to Coruscant and get trained as a Jedi?
When I listened to the episode where Xhafer is like, I wonder what that does for your career to be the guy who's always jerking off in the Shameless intro. I was like, well, they modeled a whole video game character after this actor.
Yeah, he's Cal Kestis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've played that game. One of them.
That's
both
him.
great.
That's this actor.
Speaking of crossover episodes, I want to play a quick little opening game with you guys. It's a very quick game. It's 2 truths and a lie. As Xhafer mentioned previously, it's his favorite icebreaker game for corporate reasons. So I'm going to give you three crossover episodes that happen in fucking Shameless. 2 of them are true, one's a lie. You try to guess which is which, okay?
What? There's crossover episodes?
No, and this is what I'm saying. I now understand why Laura recommended this Shameless, because it's got so much.
Okay.
There's a Breaking Bad episode. There's a BattleBots episode. There's a WWE episode. 2 truths and a lie.
I'm going to say no Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad's the lie.
What do you think, Ben?
I'm going to say no Breaking Bad because I believe I predicted they go to Vegas. And I'm going to say, well, they're in Vegas. They also go see BattleBots.
Well, wrong. There is a Breaking Bad episode.
What?
It's what is her name? Monica starts dating a guy who cooks meth in an RV, and his name is Walter.
Well, all right.
But there's no WWE episode.
This was on me. This is on me. Kane, my bad.
There's a BattleBots episode?
There's a fucking BattleBots episode, Ben.
He was texting me about this, like, I can't wait to tell Ben.
The box is
Oh
full.
my
The
God.
lights are on. It's robot fighting time.
Yeah, dude. Ian, Lip, and Mandy break into the robotics lab on campus, steal a bunch of parts, and enter a fucking BattleBots competition. Blew my fucking mind.
Awesome.
I wanted to... Yeah, and there's cameos from actual bots there. I recognized Lockjaw and Tazbot for sure, but I'm pretty sure there were others as well. But anyway,
Victor,
yeah, I just had to get that out of the way.
Chef?
Did I ever
Because
make
I've
you
been sitting on that for weeks.
Did I ever make you go back and watch the episode of BattleBots I was on?
No, I've been trying to find it because the older
It was on
episodes
YouTube
are
at one
hard to
point.
find. Yeah,
It was on YouTube with a very mean description of both myself and my robot,
Oh, no.
which was like, I was in middle school, man.
That's fucked up.
I am angry on your behalf.
These losers show up and get absolutely creamed, and it's like, I was in middle school, man. You upload videos to YouTube. Like,
That's
I
brutal.
built a robot. Who's
Yeah.
the loser?
Show me
here?
all the robots you've built, buddy.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
So I have
BattleBots in middle school.
experienced about 1/5 of what it's like being just a woman existing on the internet.
Yeah. It's Ben. Here's your gold star. Okay, so I had some ideas about how to kind of maybe keep this briefer than us reading through a bunch of Wikipedia captions of episodes.
We're
I mean,
all ears.
the ones on Wikipedia are pretty good, but
It takes forever.
it does take a long time. So I thought maybe we'd talk about like the main characters and happenings in each season, and then you guys can dive deeper when you want to. But I also want to point out that Shameless is like so canonical to Star Trek because there are so many Star Trek crossover actors in here.
There really
And you
are.
missed a whole bunch of them, and I'm so sad. Yeah.
Let's get into this.
Season 1, I'm going to pick kind of some main points. Victor, how far are you in the show so far?
Just got to season 7.
Jesus.
Okay, so you're a decent way. Yeah.
Dude,
no,
I
it's
have a
very
lot of time on
bingeable
my
when you're
hands, so-
motivated. Yeah, so I'm going to point out some spots. If you'll help me keep track of where the Star Trek actors were that you remember, that'd be great. Okay. So season 1, main characters I would pick out of that, especially would be like Ian has this plot where he is, I don't want to say the boyfriend of or having sex with, because Cash is a much older man, his boss at the bodega.
Yeah. His
Yeah.
married boss.
Yes.
With kids.
His married Muslim boss at the bodega. And that whole thing doesn't quite get explored enough as grooming for me. But it definitely is grooming because Cash is like in his 30s.
Oh, God, yeah. And Ian would have been younger
Baby.
than Lip at that point. So he would have
Yeah.
been like 15, 16 maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
He's a minor.
That's ick.
There's a beef between Cash and Mickey Milkovich. I don't know how much of this you caught, but Mickey Milkovich is always stealing shit from the bodega.
What?
Not Mickey.
Yeah. And this is how Mickey finds out that Ian's gay, and actually Mickey is gay too. And so they start boning. Mickey confronts Cash and shoots him. Or no, Cash shoots him. And mostly I think because he's like jealous of the
Cash
whole
shoots
Ian
Mickey,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not because he's like mad about the shoplifting and whatever. Ultimately, Cash just nopes out of dealing with anything and runs off with another possibly gay Muslim guy in a burqa. They both put on burqas and run away.
Oh, that's totally chill. Nothing.
Yeah. The writers
Nothing
got
wrong with
themselves out
that.
of that plot.
Yeah, the thing with Cash's wife, I felt like was left unresolved. We never see her again,
Right.
and yeah,
And she was kind of written to be like, oh, she's such a bitch, but like your husband is a criminal. Like he's a pedophile. Like I felt bad for this lady.
In the pilot, I thought she was cool.
Yeah.
yeah. She kind of has had it when she catches Ian and Cash fucking on camera in the store.
Yeah. She puts up security cameras because of the shoplifting, but catches them having sex. So, oops.
Yeah.
The other boys' plot is Lip and Karen are like best friends, but they fuck around all the time. And of course, like teenagers have their emotions and it's not like negotiated or anything. So Lip kind of wants to be more. Sometimes Karen kind of wants to be more than friends and fucking, and very complicated. Karen's dad is a total asshole. And he wants her to do
Yeah, he's
like
clown guy, right?
Yes.
he's clown guy.
They all flow down here.
Yes.
Okay.
I kind of wish the clowns had come up more, but it's a very good
Yeah, we
background
never get an
gag.
explanation for the clowns.
Yeah. There's no
It's just-
explanation.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you just like things.
Yeah, sometimes you just like things. I don't know, maybe it's there to make him just like even weirder because people hate clowns, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eddie, her dad, tries to get her back on like the good daughter path and makes her go to a purity ball where they
that's
have to
so
like
creepy.
oh, this is so bad, yeah. They have to confess their like sexual sins to their fathers at this purity ball or whatever. And she's just going down the list. Girl has a list. And she's actually like, I think kind of wanting to bond with her dad and doing this like
This is what you
almost
wanted,
sincere.
right?
Yeah,
he,
this
he
is
had
what
to
you
bribe
wanted.
her. He bribed her with a new car, saying, "I'll buy you a new
Yes.
car if you go to the purity ball."
Yeah.
She's like, "Okay, fine."
And he just loses his shit there in front of everyone and calls her a whore. And
Yeah, humiliates her bad. It's
humiliates her, embarrasses her. This is where the Karen character kind of breaks down. You remember in your season 2 episode where there's like referred to Karen having sex with Frank? She didn't exactly have sex with Frank. She raped Frank. He was incapacitated. He was like drugged up, and she was like, she had gone kind of goth girl, put on like a black wig, and she was at this time on the internet they're calling it like a video blog, but she basically had OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, this was OnlyFans before OnlyFans was
Yeah.
invented. So
Yeah.
she started up an OnlyFans on her own.
Yeah.
It's very entrepreneurial of her, I gotta
Yeah,
say.
I guess. But she like films herself having sex with Frank, and everyone who sees it is like, oh yeah, she had sex with Frank, but nobody realizes Frank was like drugged
Yeah.
up. He
Well,
was-
because he's always drugged up, and that just looked normal.
But she drugged him, right? Or was he had been
No,
injured?
he would just come stumbling back from something. Kind
Been
of a bender.
injured, and he'd gotten on
That's right. Yeah,
opiates.
yeah, and he stole a bunch
so-
of drugs from the hospital, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lip gets pretty pissed about this, but
Yeah.
he also doesn't. Frank doesn't even know really that he was raped. He's like, yeah, I guess I did it. I mean, there's a video. So
All right. Well, yikes.
yeah.
Oh, and he was dating Sheila at the time too, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. At the time that Karen had
Yeah.
her way with him.
Yeah. Nope.
This show is so great.
Overall, I'd say like if you have to rank the Shameless characters, Sheila is pretty like chill, innocent.
I love
like,
Sheila.
Okay.
I mean, it's Joan
Joan
Cusack. She's
Cusack.
amazing.
She's such a treasure.
Yeah, like there's some crazy stuff that happens and maybe some choices she makes that aren't the best choices, but like she's no Gallagher.
Yeah.
All right.
So Eddie winds up offing himself. He like jumps into the frozen Lake Michigan. And that is kind of like Karen's source of her daddy issues that just drives the rest of her character until she's gone. Let's see, what else could I be missing? Oh,
Fiona?
Fiona. So you guys didn't know that Steve is actually Jimmy Steve. Steve was pretending to be a whole other person the whole time. He was actually Jimmy Lishman.
And I think, Ben, you were correct in your prediction about how Steve actually did go to med school against his rich parents' wishes. Had his way into med school somehow.
Yeah, like his
My
parents were
question.
doctors and shit.
Did they break up at least 3 times?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Points.
Easily.
Yeah.
Lost count of how many times they broke up and got back together.
Yeah. But the other kids, they're not really doing much in season 1. There's some stuff where I think, is it season 1 where Debbie steals a baby? This is kind of alluding to Debbie she wants love and she wants to take care of something, but like there's so much chaos around her that, it's kind of alluding to Debbie's arc later.
Dude, that actress is she's very talented. I mean, because I got to say, she started the show when she was just a kid and grew up. And I mean, just every time little Debbie, when she was young, when she would get her heart broken, it was just so gut wrenching because her little face, when she would be so sad,
Yeah.
like when they put Aunt Ginger back into the home, she was like,
Yeah. She like
her
bonds
little
with an
face.
old person. They get to pretend to be Aunt Ginger. Yeah. Debbie's kind of tragic. Like, I can't wait to talk to Beth about Shameless when we do our Shameless bonus app for you all.
Yeah.
Okay, so season 2, let's move in there. So Karen joins Sex Addicts Anonymous, trying to figure out why she's like, trying to have sex with all these men, making up for her bad relationship with her father. She meets Chody there, who also seems like probably in his 30s.
And Ben, you also called that one too. When we did our Wahapa Her for where Chody came from, he just fucking appeared. He just came out of nowhere.
You mean frozen in a basement?
No, I was so hoping for that because he's so out of it. But yeah, he just shows up one day.
Yeah.
And him and Karen are together.
Steve comes back. He like disappeared at the end of season 1, I think. And he's got a wife of she's the daughter of a drug lord in Colombia or Brazil, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's Colombia. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Estefania, that was her name. Yeah.
Estefania. She's going to like some university in Chicago. I don't know what universities are there, but she's trying to get her green card through Steve and go to school and doesn't speak any English and is very fun. I love Estefania.
Yeah. Her story got dark.
You mean drug lord daughter doesn't end rainbows and puppies?
No. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, it ends with like Steve is being pushed on a boat. Jimmy is put on a boat with the drug lord, and we don't know what's going to happen to him. Frank's big deal is that Frank's mommy shows up in this season. And Frank's mommy is played by...
You
I've got to say it.
That's what this is for.
Gotta say it, and because I want you all to watch this episode. This is my reveal, is I want you to watch the episode Can I Have a Mother? Because Frank's mother is Louise Fletcher, our very own Kai Wynn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She is so good.
It is amazing.
Yeah. Louise Fletcher, rest her soul, she just knows how to play a villain. I mean, she just knows how to portray a villain that just is villainy and so villainous. She nails it.
I mean,
We
in Deep
really
Space Nine,
learn
we've
where
got
Frank came from.
In Deep Space Nine, we have a genocidal dictator, and we're still like, yeah, but Kai Wynn, though.
Came from. And actually, later in season 6, I think it is, when Frank is recovering from his liver transplant, we actually find out in his like delirium where he's talking to Sheila that his mother sexually abused him as well. So in addition to what you learn about her in season 2, you find out that there's more. And it's just like the cycle of trauma begets trauma forever. It's the Ouroboros or whatever.
Yes, it is the Ouroboros.
Monica also shows back up. That's when Mommy comes around. First time is in season 2. And she's just a hot mess, untreated, bipolar, destroying her children's lives. And Frank is just attached to this. Like, Frank loves the chaos of untreated mental illness in women. Like, that's a recurring theme across all seasons, even when Monica is gone. Actually, we saw it with Sheila, too. He was trying to get Sheila not to leave the house. He didn't want her to treat her agoraphobia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, maybe it's a control thing.
Yeah, Frank definitely. So, when we caught in the later seasons where the family is just fucking done with Frank, they want him out. They're like, fuck you, Frank, get out. We really missed all the horrible things Frank has done. Mm-hmm. He's the fucking worst. There's a few moments where he's a good guy, but yeah, for the most part, some of the shit that he's done is just like, God damn it, Frank, you're the worst.
And people love to hate on the women characters in the show on the internet. That's one thing I've noticed. Like, Beth and I are going to talk more about that. Stay tuned for Shameless Feminist Analysis Edition. So Monica does attempt suicide toward the end of the season. That was the other toss-up episode. Just like the Pilgrims did it or wanted it or something. I can't remember the name of the episode. Was the other one. It was like, man, I kind of want you guys to watch that one, but I really want you to see Louise Fletcher. So that's the one I chose.
Fletcher has to, yeah.
If you've seen the Bears, the Feast of Seven Fishes, you've seen the Thanksgiving episode with the Gallaghers. Like, it's that sort of level of stuff.
When shit gets bad and then you think it can't get any worse, then it gets worse.
Yeah. So I went with the one that would be more fresh and Star Trek connection.
Yeah.
Karen also has the baby in this season. She had gotten pregnant. Lip thinks it's his the whole time.
It's not?
Yes. Yeah. So the baby turned out to be Tommy Wong's.
Okay.
And that is a dramatic moment in the hospital when Lip realizes that this baby he really believed was his is definitely not.
I read in the trivia that it actually was an actual baby with actual Down syndrome portrayed this baby in the show. And it was really sweet. Saw some behind the scenes photos of the family with the baby. And he had a little helmet they had to wear. I'd never heard about these things before.
To reshape the skull, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really cute, I thought.
It was very cute, baby.
Important question, though. Can you tell us about Esther and what her whole deal is?
Yeah, what the fuck was up with Esther?
Oh, gosh. I love Esther.
Ethel.
Ethel. That's it.
Ethel. That's it.
Ethel.
Ethel's like the purest character on Shameless, and she's so wonderful. So she was in like a fundamentalist cult, married to a 60-something-year-old man, one of his many wives, I believe. She had a baby. She had a little boy that they brought to visit her at one point in the foster home. Ethel gets close to Malik through Kevin. Kevin like coaches the basketball team.
Yep, we saw that.
Of similar age boys, right? And Malik also has a kid that age, like through very different circumstances. So they bond over having like little children and being children. And she says to Malik that she wishes someone would take care of her husband. She is being sincere and genuine. She really thinks, that God wanted her to be married to this old man. And
because
he's in prison.
Jail. Yeah, after CPS
took
rescued
them all
Ethel
away.
and all wives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so old man got locked up in prison. Yeah, and she's like, "Well, I'm so worried about him, Malik. Who's going to take care of him?"
And Malik
she
is
said,
like,
"I'm worried." Yeah.
He calls up like his uncle or whatever and says, "Hey, you need to take this guy out." And he gets shanked in the shower for being a child rapist. And then she's free.
Yeah.
How does she end up in everybody's orbit?
Kevin and V decided to like foster a child for the money.
And apparently they didn't get to choose. They just said, "Give us whoever."
Yeah.
They
And
show
so-
up with this little, yeah.
Yeah. She gets taken care of by Kevin and V, which is actually really pure and sweet and innocent. Like Kevin and V do realize that this is more than just money and we got to take care of this little girl. She runs off with Malik. They run away and we never see them again, but I hope it was a wonderful life.
Yeah. They literally put them on a bus. Like, that's the name of the trope, when you put a character on a bus just to get them out of the show and their story arc. They literally get on a bus together with their kids, and that's the last we see of them.
Ian and Mickey kind of have their on again, off again thing going on. But Terry, Mickey's father, is a raging homophobe. And he beats the shit out of Mickey when he finds him and Ian together, and then forces him to have sex with Svetlana. Like, with Ian watching, at gunpoint, sex with Svetlana. So that's how Svetlana winds up pregnant, maybe. She's a prostitute at that point. Like, we don't know how Svetlana really got pregnant or who this child's father is, but Mickey is then forced to marry Svetlana over the course of the season, and ultimately has their baby. Kevin and V have their whole thing about they're trying to get pregnant, and the mother surrogate. You saw the motherfucking, so we'll just leave that alone. But yeah, Veronica was told she won't be able to have children, and then later winds up with twins. Frank calls Child Protective Services on his own house because he's pissed off at them for not respecting him.
Yeah, they kick him out so many times throughout the show.
Yeah.
That's the big arc for Fiona and Frank, is like Fiona's trying to get the custody of the kids because Frank and
Drinking away the support payments and everything.
Yeah, ruining their lives just all the time. Ultimately,
and that
Fiona,
was, I gotta say, in my opinion, that was the lowest of the low that I've seen of Frank. Is calling CPS on his own family after out of spite. That was fucked up. And then he doesn't even remember doing it because he was high and drunk off his ass when he did it.
And Fiona hears it eventually. So Fiona goes through all the case. She sits in front of the judge. She tells the judge a story about when she was maybe 9 and Lip and Ian were like 6 and 7. And Frank and Monica just left them on the side of the road somewhere. And Ian is sick. She has to take him to the hospital. He has 104-degree fever. Like, she's been taking care of them all their lives. And the judge ultimately says, well, I'm going to give you both legal guardian. Like, you are legal guardian, but Frank still has his parental rights, basically. But when she goes to clear up things with the caseworker, she's like, who called anyway? Like, what happened?
What the hell happened?
Can't explain. But I got the van.
And the caseworker's like, well, I'm just going to walk away for a second. And she leaves the call running, and then Fiona can hear that it's Frank that did it. So, fuck Frank.
Yeah.
Everything is Frank's fault.
It really is.
Yeah. So Lip had not been with Karen, right, because of having somebody else's baby. He gets together with Mandy Milkovich. Mandy has a thing where we find out, I don't know if it was this season or earlier season, but her father had been raping her, getting drunk and, quote, mistaking her for their mother. Ian pretends to be her boyfriend and raises money for her to get an abortion, pretends like it was his, so that it's not as stigmatized. It's still stigmatizing, but,
I gotta say, we're not doing a great job on selling me on watching the rest of this show.
It's got some really great funny moments, but it's also got some real fucking... Yeah, I'd say it's worth watching. Just because it's...
We're going through the very high points,
Yeah,
the 30,000 foot.
Xhafer, honestly, if you liked The Bear, this is like a Diet Coke version of The Bear, but more fucked up.
I forget the guy's name, but this feels like
it's nothing like The Bear. Never mind.
This feels like this is so dark that one guy isn't legally allowed to use it.
Anish Kapoor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is pretty dark.
It is so dark, it's like Janeway's coffee.
Okay.
But Lip and Mandy get together. Mandy actually really wants Lip to succeed, and she wants him to go to college. Applying to colleges for him.
Yeah,
and
because Lip wouldn't do it. She filled out all of his applications.
Yeah, he's a lazy fuck. He's that smart guy,
How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Sorry to interject. I just want to get this. She doesn't tell him. She just starts applying to all these colleges, and and Lip just starts getting all these letters in the mail. It turned out she just like copied and pasted the Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech.
Yeah, she's doing her best.
She didn't know how to write an application letter.
Yeah,
and she's like, Mandy, what the fuck?
Yeah, and part of Mandy's like wanting Lip to succeed is that when Karen comes back around, she's gone full crazy and she wants to manipulate Lip into being her thing again. Mandy can see this in Karen and is not happy. And Karen is actually manipulating everyone. She's like trying to manipulate Sheila, saying, you know, oh yeah, you can take care of me instead of the baby. And it's really ugly.
Karen's a horrible person, but I mean, she kind of turns into a horrible person because of her
trauma.
upbringing.
Yeah. So Mandy hits Karen with her car.
Oh,
on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, she like calls from Lip's phone, making her think that Lip is going to be waiting for her in the park. And as Karen's walking to the park, Mandy just rams her with her car.
Does she die?
Coma.
No,
Yeah.
but she has permanent brain damage, and yeah, and you know, I loved Mandy's character up until this point, and then when she fucking runs Karen over with a goddamn car.
Yeah,
but then I'm like,
a little too dark.
I don't know, because afterward, Karen is a much better person with the brain damage.
Yeah,
like she
she's
stops
very
being such a
innocent.
manipulative.
I'm seeing your affinity for a certain type of woman playing out here, and it's just no, Victor. When they hit somebody with a car, that is disqualifying.
It's no good, yeah. You know, your squirt bottle, Ben. Be like, bad, Victor, bad.
Ian gets really depressed that Mickey had to marry the Russian prostitute, and he steals Lip's identity because Lip is old enough. Lip is 18 and joins the army out of his sadness. So,
yeah, stealing Lip's identity to do it.
and Estefania gets deported because Jimmy Steve wasn't like taking care of his marriage enough because he was trying to get with Fiona all season. And that's when Jimmy Steve gets put on the boat, and we think that he's like dumped in Lake Michigan or whatever.
You don't get a drug kingpin's daughter deported. That's how you get trunked.
it's a fuck up.
Yep. But things were looking up for Fiona at the end of season 3 because she got like a real job, like a temp job, I think, at this point at a cup sales place. Remember Worldwide Cup?
Yes.
And it was like a real job with benefits and stuff. So we thought that things were going to go pretty good for Fiona, and then they don't.
All right.
Season 4. Okay. So the big part of season 4 is Fiona and her mistakes. She actually is like climbing the ladder at Worldwide Cup. She gets up to a salesperson, but she starts dating her boss, you guys. Her boss is actually like a good dude, very normal, but even when like you're a good dude and very normal and you're doing the boss relationship, something's going to go really bad. She meets his family, and his brother Robbie is like a big time addict, and she just can't ignore the bad boy, I guess, and he seduces her. He ruins her relationship with the boss, Mike. I think it was Mike that was his name. Yeah, basically tells him like, I've been fucking your girlfriend, you know, ha ha ha, and ruins her life and her job, and then brings some cocaine by as an apology to her house. She kicks him out, but the cocaine is still there, and she and Kevin and Veronica decide to do the cocaine, and then Liam gets in the cocaine.
Yeah, no one's paying attention.
Oh no!
And Liam,
Yeah.
they
The look
find
on
Liam
Xhafer's
passed out
face
on the
is very
floor.
loud.
Yeah.
This isn't like, I know that the face I'm making is one of great concern, But I'm going to ask a really stupid question right now. This isn't how Liam gets so smart, and it's like a super babies thing,
Oh,
right?
no.
Baby
No.
geniuses?
No.
Okay.
In fact, it's implied that he got permanent brain damage from being a toddler and overdosing on
Ingesting cocaine.
cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, this is the sort of
like-
thing. I'm glad we missed this episode because,
yeah.
Victor, as a father, had I seen this episode, I never would have been able to see anything that Fiona, V, and Kev did as wacky hijinks ever again.
Yeah.
I would have
It's
hated
really
them
rough.
forever.
Yeah.
It is really rough.
And this was after Fiona had become the legal guardian of the household.
Yep.
Is this
That-
why she goes to jail?
That's exactly
Yes.
why she goes to.
Or a time skip?
Well, so this is where I was going to say. This is a TV show, you guys, and writers do take liberties. And yes, they took liberties because Xhafer gave us all the legalese about how long she must have had to have been in jail. She was in jail for 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was she on house arrest afterward or something?
Yes.
We saw the
Yes.
bracelet.
Yeah.
That can
Yeah.
happen in some states. So, yeah. Okay.
Yep. So that's the whole thing with Fiona over the season.
For some reason, I've been doing a lot of research on what felonies actually constitute in some states. And apparently, if you're a first-time felon in some states, like New York or something, you can do your time at home. You don't have to
Weird.
actually go to jail. Crazy. I know, right? I wonder why I had to look that up. Anyways,
Frank, this is when his liver starts failing. And again, the liver plot is where some liberties are taken. We will get to that. He goes looking for his oldest daughter that was from Queenie. You guys met Queenie. He finds Sammy. Sammy thinks that he is romantically interested in her for a comfortably long time.
Well,
She
Frank
actually
does manipulate her.
He does.
He
yes.
doesn't. He finds her, tracks her down, sees that she has a kid that he didn't know about or whatever. He arranges a meet cute by like, what did he? Oh, he grabbed some random kid at the playground and was like, "Hey, you see that chunky kid over there? I'll give you $5 if you go punch him in the face." So this random kid goes over and does it, and Frank intervenes, saying, "Hey, blah blah blah." And then Sammy is all just like, "Oh, thank you so much, you random stranger. Let me buy you a coffee." And this entire thing is him manipulating his daughter, not telling her who he is, just so he can get her liver.
Yeah, he wants her liver. And then they go through all of that, like him getting closer to her. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll give you my liver," when she finds out, about his bad situation. They go get tested and she's not a match. And he's like, "But you're my daughter. How can you not be a match?" And she's like, "I'm your what?" Frank is the worst. Lip
Yeah, and this whole
goes
time
to
I'm
college.
watching. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this whole time I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, okay, this is how Frank gets a new liver. No, it's not.
Nope.
So
Yeah, that ain't it.
that ain't it.
So Lip goes to college.
Free scholarship.
Yep.
That's another plot point we missed completely is intellect. 'Cause apparently he's got a very abnormally high IQ, especially for someone growing up on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Throughout,
has-
he's been like doing tests for people, like taking the SAT for people
was
and
it.
stuff.
It was a side hustle. Like getting other students were paying him to take their SATs for him. So.
Yeah. And he's very smart, but college is a huge adjustment because like you're expected to go to class and learn things, and it's actually hard compared to like a lot of public high school is not super hard. So he does not do well with that. Then Mandy actually got left behind when Lip went to college. She gets in an abusive relationship with a boyfriend who's probably like using her and pimping her out and stuff. Mickey is still married to Svetlana, but he's still gay and still in love with Ian. And when it becomes clear that Ian is no longer in the army, he's like, he's gone AWOL. Mickey does find him and publicly comes out. Terry tries to attack him, but everybody else in the alibi is like, it's fine. We don't care. We don't care you're gay. It is like a nice, accepting environment, except for Terry Milkovich, who documented sucks ass.
So, Victor, just want to cross over with you. People can just go AWOL from the Army and just live out the rest of their lives. The Army doesn't care about that, right?
Pretty much, yeah. No, if you leave, like it'll go on your record. But no, as far as I know, there's never been any. At least I've never seen any kind of thing where they actively try to hunt you down. It just
Probably if you
goes
did
on
something
your-
wrong, which we do find out Ian did something wrong.
You'll get I don't think anyone's even been dishonorably discharged in like over 30 years.
Damn.
They just give you a general other than honor conditions, which is pretty bad. So if you can say goodbye to ever trying to get like a government job if you go AWOL. But yeah, they just send you a letter in the mail saying you've been discharged, blah, 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 no benefits, all that crap. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the show, they have MPs like trying to hunt him down, trying to hunt down Ian.
Yeah.
They got better things to do.
Yeah.
You
I
would
imagine
never
outside
see
of
that.
war conditions, like AWOL is not that
Yeah.
big a deal. Sammy and Sheila go on the quest to find Frank a new liver. They contact like some black market people and contract with them to get Frank a new liver. They have like an immigrant guy who doesn't speak English sitting there, and they're like, yeah, he's a match for Frank. We're going to take his liver, and they pay him $25,000. They do the surgery in an empty warehouse, abandoned warehouse, leave Frank. They're like, okay, we're leaving. You call an ambulance in 10 minutes. They call the ambulance. They're like, he's just got a transplant. But it turns out that they took his kidney.
Not only did they not give him a liver, they stole his kidney.
Yes. And
my
this is
God.
where Xhafer is going to be incredulous again because he knows a lot about the liver transplant situation. And because now he has no kidney, they bump him up to get him a liver, even though Frank is like, at this point, there would be no way Frank could survive, right? Yeah. So Fiona got sent home on house arrest. She finds out that it is really freaking hard to get a job when you have a felony conviction. She winds up as a waitress at Patsy's Pies, which you saw. Mm-hmm. She gets in a relationship with a musician, and they go like on a 1-week love bender where they're just so into each other, and they get married. Yeah. This is a terrible idea.
Oh, boy.
All the while, she also has the hots for her boss, Sean, which I think we called him. Did you guys call him Old Steve?
It's Dirty Steve.
Dirty Steve.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
from
Steve.
It's Dirty Steve from Young Guns.
Young Guns, that's right.
I was in
You've got Ben has the DVD special edition right there.
It's got the... It's when DVDs used to come in
beautiful.
like cool cases.
Dirty Steve returns, and they do have sex. He
Wait,
wants her
Dirty
to
Steve
leave.
and Jimmy Steve have sex?
No, sorry.
No,
Jimmy, Steve, and Fiona, of course. And Jimmy Steve wants to take her away to Dubai because he's got some mysterious partner now that they're doing stuff, stealing presumably, and they're going to Dubai.
How did he get away
But-
from the cartel?
Not ever
that's
explained.
Never explained. Yeah.
You know, South
we
American
see
drug
him-
cartels totally chill,
Yeah.
guys.
Maybe
Yeah,
Beto stood up for him because he and Beto were like bonding over the whole time that the drug
Beto
lord's
was his
under guy
was
is
the
like
guy
following
watching
around.
him. Right?
Yes.
Beto was the guy who had to follow him around everywhere. Yeah.
Yes, they bonded a
Yeah.
lot. And Beto
Yeah.
was also super cool. I would say he's a great Shameless character. So, yeah, she wrecks her marriage. That's going to turn out great. Sammy's still around. She's trying to take care of all the Gallaghers now for some reason.
Speaking to what you were mentioning earlier, Laura, about
People
how,
hate Sammy.
Yeah.
Well, she let her son become a Nazi.
Well, okay, we're going to get there. And it's
Yeah.
not her fault.
I
Yeah.
loved Sammy's character. I thought she was fucking hilarious, dude. She cracked me up.
She
I mean,
was
she's
pretty
a terrible
funny.
person, but but her character made me laugh so much. But yeah, I noticed there was a lot of hatred for Sammy on the r.shameless forums and
Yes.
whatnot. So
Yes. So, how Chucky becomes the Nazi. Carl is at this point dealing drugs, and he's
no, he's dealing guns.
I think it's both.
Oh wait, no, it was drugs first. Then
it's both. He's dealing the drugs, and he's assigned to move a large quantity of drugs to another state. I think to Michigan or something.
Yeah.
And he tapes the drugs to Chucky because Chucky is very clearly not very smart.
Yeah.
They say later his IQ is like exceptionally
75.
low.
Did you say 25?
75.
75. Okay, because I'm like 25. You are like
You're
Not functioning.
You're drowning in your own drool on the
He's
floor.
barely functional. Carl tapes the drugs to him. They get caught on their way to Michigan, and they both get sent to juvie. Well, Chucky gets picked up by the Nazis. Carl gets picked up by, like, the black gang members.
The reason Chucky gets picked up by the Nazis is because his mother, Sammy, is so worried about him going to juvie because, I mean, he's a big Pillsbury doughboy. You know, he can't defend himself.
Yeah.
And she's always like, Chucky, I'm so sorry. And she's visiting him at the police station, and she has some time. She sneaks in a cheap-ass, like, fake little homemade tattoo gun and is like, Chucky, I'm so sorry, but I'm doing this because I love you. And she tattoos a swastika on his forehead.
Oh, I didn't catch that part. I thought that he just got picked up by the Nazis, but she did it. She did it. Okay.
Swastika on his forehead. And then the next scene when he's getting on the bus, all the white supremacists, all the neo-Nazis, they see him and they grab Chucky and they're like, hey, you're with us.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're basically like on opposing teams in.
Yeah. She inglorious bastards her son.
She does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's funny because later when Chucky gets out of jail, I'm sorry if I'm getting.
No, go ahead and give us Chucky. Just give us his arc.
Yeah, when Chucky gets out of jail and he starts living with the Gallaghers again, and Fiona's taking care of him. Fiona has a moment where she's doing her thing, you know, making everyone breakfast. She's just like, okay, I'm sorry, I just can't do this anymore. And she grabs Chucky and gets a Sharpie and turns the swastika into a box.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the show, Chucky just has like 4 squares on his forehead.
But he didn't have that tattoo when he did the book report on Mein Kampf.
He did. He was wearing that
he was
entire
wearing
episode.
A beanie.
Yes, we never noticed it because of the beanie.
Oh no!
I know. It blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, he's got a fucking swastika on his forehead.
At least do it on the upper arm where you can hide it, Sammy.
I know, right?
Come on.
Sammy. She had a good intention? Question mark.
No.
Just she wanted her son to be safe. I don't know. Sammy's not very smart either, guys.
Yeah. Oh god, I love Sammy.
Other big arc is that Debbie starts dating Derek, an older boy that she meets at boxing. Debbie has... We skipped over Debbie in the last couple seasons, but she really wants a boyfriend. Like, she wants attention because nobody gives her any attention in the Gallagher household. And positive attention is not a thing there. So she had dated another boy that turned out to be like in his early 20s, and he didn't want to have sex with her because she was only 13. But she really, really wanted that because she wanted to like get claws into somebody, have somebody to be stable with. She did wind up raping him at a party. He left, never to be seen again. And so she starts dating Derek. She talks to Derek's sister-in-law. And she's like, yeah, this family's so great. They love me unconditionally. Derek's brother, Jimmy or whatever, got me pregnant. And they took me in because my family was terrible. And Debbie sees like, light bulb. My family is also terrible. And I would like to be in a good family. And so she intentionally gets pregnant with Derek's child. Derek moves away to Florida because he doesn't want to be a father. And
she lies to Derek about being on birth control.
Yes. Yeah. She does have a baby without
some pretty
his
terrible
consent.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And it's all rooted in she just wants to be loved, which is really, really, really sad, but it is still horrible. You can't do these things to people. Yeah. So that's going to be a thing. Ian comes back and reunites with Mickey, but it is very clear that Ian is bipolar like their mom, Monica. So when he left the military, he crashed a helicopter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never showed that, but it was mentioned that that's why their MPs were looking for him.
Yeah. Because he like destroyed $1 million piece of equipment.
Yeah, they don't let you get away with that. Also, you don't just learn how to, like, you can't just fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like he gets it like 10 feet off the ground and crashes it in a big ball of fire or something. Like it's horrible. They do catch him. The MPs catch him because Sammy finds out that, oh, that's why he's on the run from the military, and she's pissed at Chucky getting sent to juvie. So she reports to the military police where Ian is, and they get him.
Yeah, she snitches out of revenge.
So it's Sammy's fault, not Frank's fault.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is
Well-
actually Sammy's. Well, I mean, everything at the root is Frank's fault, right? I mean,
But then, isn't it all Louise Fletcher's fault?
and whose
so-
fault before that?
Capitalism.
Always.
There is
Always.
a very long story arc about the gentrification of the Chicago South Side throughout
Yeah,
the
is it
entire
starting right
series.
about around now?
It started pretty early because like because there was, I think we skipped over this, but there was a part where the Alibi was getting overrun with hipsters,
Yeah.
and Kevin actually even put up a sign like maximum 2 hipsters at a time.
They got a bouncer just for the hipsters. And isn't this
Yeah.
kind of where Svetlana starts becoming involved in the bar?
Yeah,
What
Less
happens with
prostitute,
the
more bar.
brothel?
Oh, they get shut down.
But the
All
bar
girls
stays
get
okay.
carted away. But the bar had no knowledge.
this is very much creative liberties taken here, to where
Yeah.
the cops only arrest everyone upstairs. They don't question anyone in the Alibi. Alibi,
Yeah,
like, "Ah,
this
you're
is a
fine."
separate
They don't
business.
care.
Like, why would it be involved?
Yeah.
So who goes away for that?
The girls.
Just the girls?
Mickey gets away.
And Kevin gets just left.
Kevin wasn't involved. He's the bar owner. He's not a pimp.
Yeah, it was very hand wavy.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
oh, I guess we lost the brothel.
Okay, so we've gotten, because Sammy turned Ian in, Mickey is pissed and he roofies her. They think that they've killed her. He and Debbie both do the roofying because they're mad. And they think they've killed her. And I think they were just, I don't remember what the intention was with the roofies.
Oh, they wanted to torture her.
Okay, they just wanted to.
There was a really funny opening, the opening gag where they're like, here's what you missed on Shameless. And they had a little daydream sequence when Debbie's like, yeah, here's what we're going to do. I got a car battery out of a car out back. We're going to duct tape her to a chair and clamp the car battery to her nipples.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just going to torture her, but they think they've killed her. So they put her in a storage container and send it away. Turns out she wasn't dead. And Ian, at the end of the season, they go to the military prison where he's kept, and they tell them MPs, look, he's bipolar like our mom. He's not been treated. He needs help. The military ultimately is like, yeah, okay, go get him some help. And I guess they discharge him less than dishonorably. Medical discharge, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
And Monica shows up and tells Ian, no one is ever going to understand you like I understand you. And let's go, So they run off together.
Hey, you know how you're completely unstable? Let's add another one to the mix.
Let's both be unstable together.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That's when we find out that she has been living with the meth dealer and making meth. They hitchhike back to the meth trailer in
Walter.
season
In his
6.
trailer.
Fiona finds out she's also pregnant. Fiona's like, let's go get abortions together. Let's not ruin our lives. Because Fiona's, marriage has fallen apart. She had the thing with Jimmy Steve, but now she's in a relationship with Dirty Steve. So she's like, I need an abortion. I can't deal with all this. Debbie refuses to get the abortion. And that's how we get Franny. Carl gets back from juvie and he has his cornrows and his tough persona. This is actually really sad, Carl's arc here. He's got this girl he's trying to impress, Dominique. they do wind up together for a little bit. His friend Nick, the big black guy, has been with him, and his deal was...
This actor is like 25, but he's supposed to be playing a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
This guy is fucking huge.
That'll
There's some hilarious scenes because Carl's a short guy, but Nick starts living with them, and there's some hilarious scenes where they're at the Gallagher breakfast table in the morning getting ready to go to school, and you got tiny little Carl and fucking Nick, who's just massive, sitting there eating Fruit Loops.
Yeah, they're cute together. You want it to be like they're buddies now, and they are.
It reminded
buddies.
me of Mad Max. Was it Master Blaster?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because Nick also never talks. I don't think we hear him speak like
A few
once, maybe
times.
twice in the entire scene. He just never talks.
We find out that he went to juvie because he beat the shit out of his father, and he does say that, my father stole my bike. Like, he had saved up his whole life because his father couldn't give him anything. His father was a crackhead. He saved up his whole life, got this bike. His father sold it for crack. So he beat the shit out of his father and went to juvie. In their arc, Carl's being kind of the tough guy, and he's like using the specter of Nick to intimidate people.
Yeah.
Nick is just a quiet guy standing around. But Nick gets a bike because he really wanted a bike. Some kid steals his bike, and Nick loses it. And Carl's like, don't worry about it. Let's just get a car. And he goes and like buys a car. Carl does for Nick. And Nick still won't let it go. He sees the kid on the bike in the neighborhood and goes and like bashes his head in with a hammer.
Yeah.
We don't see that. That is all off screen. But that's when Carl realizes, like, holy fuck, the thug life is not for me.
And that's what
Carl
leads
was
into the Pimp's Paradise episode.
Yes, that was right before Pimp's Paradise. And how Carl got all that money, he decided he wasn't going to sell drugs anymore. He started selling guns at school.
To the teachers, mostly.
Yes. He's selling guns in the boys' bathroom. And he's got a line of these kids who want to buy fucking guns from him. And yeah, the teachers hear about it, and they call him in, and they're like, son, I know about your business. And they're like, listen, I want you to give me a Glock 9mm because the teachers hearing about all the school shootings going on, be like, I need to fucking protect myself. So they're buying guns from Carl.
There is a moment where something happens and like all the teachers pull all their guns on each other at once, and it becomes clear that like this is a
drops
problem.
Something in the hallway and it makes a loud noise, and like 6 teachers pull guns.
Maybe arming our teachers isn't the solution, guys. I'm just saying.
Maybe. I'm sure this was appropriately timed around that discourse. I'm guessing this was shortly after Sandy Hook.
Oh
God,
something.
I don't know.
This would have been
take your pick.
I don't think this would have been Sandy Hook.
Honestly,
This would have been Florida.
Well, there's no shortage of school
no.
shootings to choose from in this country.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm sure it was appropriately timed regardless. Now,
Yeah, it's sad to say, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this would have been more Stoneman Douglas.
Yeah.
They never explained where Carl got the guns from.
Mickey.
I
He
think
just
it's
has
his
this
gang. I
backpack.
think it's implied like the juvie gang connections that he has.
Yeah.
They were getting it from the
I mean,
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah,
He's got this backpack that is like a D magic item, has like this never-ending supply of guns.
I'm not giving that to you next session.
Oh, no, I've already had a character who had one of those.
Magic gun backpack.
Yeah.
You guys want to
That
know
was the
what the
whole
deal
thing.
was with Helene?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
we never saw Helene.
The Helene story
wait,
makes
wait.
me so mad. Yeah.
Wait, so I predicted, I believe I predicted she was a professor at the
You
school?
were insistent she was a professor.
Yeah.
You were correct.
Yes.
Yes.
And your prediction was we never see her again, and yeah, we never saw her at all.
Yeah. So she was a professor. I think she was Lip's like feminist theory professor. And
critical
Of
thinking
course.
theory.
This fucking show.
he like shows up to class super late and she busts his balls about
He's late
it.
and disinterested, and suddenly every woman is fawning for him, like always.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
pretty much.
He goes to her office hours to apologize, and they wind up making out and like having sex and whatever. And it comes out that like she has sex with him at her house, and then her husband comes home, and her husband's just like, oh, okay, what do you want for breakfast? They're like in an open relationship, but there was no talk about that. He didn't know. So Lip is like scrambling because he's like, oh my God, your husband's home. So no consent in this open relationship. Don't like that. She has the power dynamic over him. She is his professor. There's stuff where like she takes him to a conference and they stay in the hotel together, and it's so weird and gross. And she starts to like get a little misty over like she's kind of reliving her youth with Lip a little bit. Oh, and also the other beef I have with the Helene in general is they say she's like 40 and she has an adult son that Lip mistakes for maybe another student who's fucking her, and he beats up her son. She's 40, has an adult son and a doctorate. Fuck off. I don't believe that for a second. Like, you would have had to have had that child and gone through all the doctoral stuff at the same time and now been, I don't know. I'm just like, no, I don't believe this. You would have had to have that child in your undergrad. Like, I don't know. But yes, Helene, bad. Ultimately, Lip had been messing around with Amanda at the college, and Amanda's like a crazy girlfriend. She's the schedule, yes. She's the fuck schedule.
BJ break at 4:30.
Exactly. And he took a picture of Helene in his bed in his dorm room. Amanda finds it on his phone and tweets it to everybody. So Helene gets disciplined. She tells Lip, like, we are never speaking again, basically. And Lip loses his mind, and this is his, like, descent into alcoholism over Helene. Because he thought it was really something special and important.
She's married. You're the side piece, man.
Yeah. It was...
And that's not even why he was expelled.
No,
Like
he gets expelled because he loses his shit and beats up cars. Like, takes a crowbar to a bunch of professor cars.
It wasn't Michelle Obama's car?
No.
Oh, man.
Not that we know of.
It was actually, like, one of his other professor's car, mostly. Like, Professor Ewens that you heard about.
Yeah.
He had been Ewens' TA, and Ewens also had an alcoholism problem. Ewens ultimately pays for Lip to go to rehab.
They tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no.
Which is part of why Lip thinks he's super special boy. To Ewens, and then you guys saw the episode where he finds out he's not super special boy.
But then there's a letter that says actually he was super special boy.
Ewens did do a lot for him.
He did.
Like,
and he does a lot for Ewens as we get farther into other seasons. But yeah, Ewens convinces him to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. That actually eventually works for Lip. Ian, puts his relationship with Mickey behind him because Mickey goes to jail for the whole Sammy thing. Him and Sammy have a shootout, try to kill each other. After Sammy after she escapes that storage container, she comes back and she and Mickey literally have a shootout.
Does anybody
they both
get
go
hit?
to jail. I don't think so,
No.
but they both go to jail.
That's actually the most
Breaking Bad.
accurate thing that can happen in a gunfight. Most times,
Probably,
nobody actually gets hit, or at least the person you're trying to hit doesn't get hit.
Because I fucking love Sammy the way when she shows back up. Because last we saw her, the audience thinks she's dead because she's been roofied, she has no pulse. So like, what the fucks? And there's like one of those storage services where they drop off a big container,
Like a pod?
and then, a pod. They shove her in a pod and seal it up. And then a few episodes later, Sammy is just on the block screaming at Mickey, being like, "Yeah, I'm not dead, motherfucker!" Starts shooting at him, and Mickey's like, "What the fuck?" Sammy, that actress plays crazy.
And I forgot to redeem Mickey a little bit. Like,
Mickey does surprisingly have a lot of we in our watch through we saw the worst of Mickey.
You did.
Yeah.
We missed all the good points with him and Ian.
You missed the tenderness of Ian. I guess maybe I've skipped it, but at one point he has a manic break, and he steals Mickey and Svetlana's baby and drives away and goes to like a couple states over before he runs out of gas. And like, everybody's freaking out. Is the baby okay? He ultimately gets picked up by the police because he's ranting in a grocery store, I think. And Mickey takes him back and is like, we need to get you help. Like, we need to get you some help. And, Ian goes through that struggle of like getting on lithium or the other bipolar treatments and not feeling like himself and feeling like he's dead inside. And, Mickey tries to get him through it. And it's really tender, actually. And it's a very redeeming story arc for Mickey. He really cares a lot.
Glad to know that exists. Good.
Finishing out season 6, Fiona decides to marry Dirty Steve. They go through a whole bunch of like complicated, like he's a narcotics addict, but he's clean
heroin.
Right now.
Yeah, he was a fucking heroin addict.
He does this thing where in the beginning he's like, I couldn't be with you, Fiona. You're too chaotic, and chaotic women are bad for me. And I'm sitting there like, no, dude, you are bad for you. Fuck off. Like, don't blame women for your badness, your problems. But yeah, they decide they're going to get married after she finally gets divorced from the musician she was married to after a week. That whole thing was just kind of ugly and stupid.
There's an episode where this musician guy who's Fiona's ex-husband, they go on a break and then they talk about getting back together, and he invites her to his band's gig, and he sings a song dedicated to her called The F Word, and it's like the F word is for Fiona, and it starts off sweet and then it turns into a diss track. It's a really good song. Like, just musically
entirely.
speaking, it's a good song, but I'm sure it's out there available on iTunes, but they played the entire song.
All I can think of right now
The
is
performance.
I'm
And
getting rid of Britta. She's a no good bee.
Yeah.
It's like
lot
that, yeah.
It's a fuck you, Fiona. Now I'm fucking done.
Now,
Yeah.
It's a good song.
Is he
check it out.
doing this like at her like, hey, and now we're finished? Or is this like,
Yeah.
Yes.
she'll think this is endearing?
Yeah, she's in the audience.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't.
She's in the audience, and he points her out to everyone in the bar and says, "That's my wife right over there, and I want to dedicate this song to her."
And
Wow.
like thinks she'll think this is endearing. But no, okay.
No, it's very intentional, and this whole time I'm just like, dude, you married her after a week. What did you expect, man?
Right,
Come on.
right.
dude.
He's
What-
stupid.
He's all, I feel betrayed
Betrayed.
and used. I'm like, you knew each
You're
other
a dumb
for
shit.
like 72 hours total, maybe.
Yeah.
It was dumb.
Bad choices. Speaking of bad choices, she decides to marry Sean. Frank and Sean clash. Sean is too old, guys. I don't know. He seems like
Yeah.
he's got to be close to 50.
Dirty Steve's pretty old, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
Dirty
Young
Steve's
Guns
pretty
came
old.
out in the 80s.
There you go. So Frank and Dirty Steve clash, don't have a liking to each other. Frank goes and like invades the office where at Patsy's Pies and finds that Sean has been shooting up and back on heroin. And Frank outs this at the wedding. Not, I think, intentionally. He was just like, ha ha, because he's high. He used Sean's stuff. And he's like, game recognized game, dude. Ha ha ha. And Fiona's devastated because she had asked Sean, are you clean? And are you going to stay clean? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And Sean's son is there, finds out he's not clean. And Sean is like, well, I'm going to go take care of my son. That's what I'm supposed to do. Like, sorry, Fiona. And leaves. And I don't know. I thought the whole Sean arc, I hated it. It was just dumb and stupid. And that's the end of season 6. They throw Frank in a river because he ruined Fiona's wedding.
Fair.
Like it's a collective effort. Like Kevin's there, Ian, Lip, Svetlana, V. They all carry Frank over a bridge and chunk him in the river. It's like a team building moment.
Deserved.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've had Franny. We had her in season 6. There's some fun stuff around that arc if you should peruse the episode A Yurt of One's Own. It's very funny. Fiona tries to get her life back. She becomes the manager of Patsy's Pies. She ultimately buys that laundromat. You saw the laundromat. You saw Etta.
Yes.
Etta has Alzheimer's and thinks Frank is her husband. Ultimately, Fiona realizes that like owning this laundromat is a lot of freaking work. And Etta really needs... She bought the laundromat because she's like, well, Etta can stay in her home and then these gentrifying developers won't turn this into a Jamba Juice or whatever. But Etta needs to not be in her home.
Yeah, throughout the entire few seasons, there are gentrifiers coming in, buying up all the properties and turning them into yoga studios and Starbucks and shit. And they're trying to push Etta out, and Etta's like lives upstairs with her 12 cats.
Yeah.
She has the cutest cats. There's this one with a little
cute.
smoosh face that looks like Nippins. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Cats are great
They're
on
very
TV,
cute kitties.
where you can't smell them.
And so ultimately she gets, money from owning that laundromat. She gets a little bit out of that. But she meets one of those gentrifying business owners. That's who owns Patsy's Pies. And she was going to shut down Patsy's Pies, but Fiona turns it around as the manager with her, yuppie ideas about how to do things, bougie sandwiches and stuff.
So they
turns the place around.
self-gentrify so it doesn't get sold.
Right, exactly. Lip is still struggling with his alcoholism, and he works at Patsy's a little bit because Fiona can hire him. Meets Sierra. You guys met Sierra on one of your episodes because you also met Neil. Neil is Sierra's brother.
Wheelchair?
Yes.
He
He has
seemed
brain
cool.
damage.
Okay.
He had a traumatic brain injury, so he says whatever's on his mind, which is funny stuff.
Yep. Literally has no filter.
Yeah. It's like, look at those titties, that kind of thing. Debbie wants to get with him because he's got a disability benefit and that can take care of her and Franny. And Neil has that apartment that they're living in. She lives there with him and Franny, and Sierra has been living there, but she's kicking Sierra out in one of those episodes you watched.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when Lip is coming over to Sierra's new apartment to fix things without being invited, which, yes, boundaries crossed. Professor Ewens tries to get him reinstated at the college and ultimately fails. The student body, I think, has a representative on the committee, and they're like, we are not safe with Lip around, doing drunken things. So, Lip relapses back into alcohol, but he does get back into Alcoholics Anonymous. So Lip is not going to totally be a Frank. There have been moments in the show where it's like, are there going to be a Frank? We see that Lip is not going to. Frank starts a homeless shelter in a house that was for sale in the neighborhood.
I thought that was Sheila's house.
Oh,
Was it Sheila's old house?
I don't think it was. Sheila's house blew up, remember? Oh,
Wait,
sorry,
what?
guys. Sheila's house blew up.
Yeah.
Frank was
tried to-
making moonshine in the basement. He's making his own special brand of moonshine. Sheila's house blows up. She had just bought an RV, and she drives the RV off into happiness.
Good. Joan Cusack deserves that.
Away from Frank forever.
She does.
Yeah, so there's a different house for sale.
Okay.
Frank takes it over, makes it a homeless shelter. This is when Ian meets Trevor, the
Yes.
trans boy.
We met Trevor.
When
Trevor
we were
briefly
shocked,
meets-
came back.
Yes. Trevor briefly meets Mickey when Mickey has escaped from prison and tries to get Ian to go with him to Mexico. Ian goes all the way to the border and then decides not to go all the way and goes back home and apologizes to Trevor for leaving.
And
And
it's
then you
okay to
guys saw
decide
when-
not to go all the way at any time. You can revoke consent at any moment.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to go all the way to Mexico if you don't want to. You guys saw when Monica came back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Monica really had a problem. They are very elusive about what it is. Something wrong in her brain, something from the years of drugs. And they have a big party. They renew their vows. That's it. And they're trying to get all the kids to come to their vow renewal because it's so important to them. And none of the kids give a shit. And they don't tell any of the kids that she's dying. Not that they would have made them give more of a shit. I don't know. But after they renew their vows, she dies. And Frank buries her in her wedding dress. And they find out that she had 70 pounds of crystal meth in a storage unit, and that's their inheritance.
So that was her scheme, was I've got a bunch of drugs.
That was her
Yes.
plan.
Mm-hmm. She had 70 pounds of crystal meth, and each of the kids gets some.
Yeah, one bag for each of the kids.
One bag for each of the kids. Fiona puts hers in Monica's coffin. Hers and Liam's. She's not taking either of them. And everybody else keeps theirs because they're going to not the meth. They're going to use it to sell or something. Sorry. Mm. Oh, but Frank does.
Frank
does use it.
Does Frank break into the coffin and steal back the other bags?
No, he doesn't know they're in there.
No.
Oh,
She hid
okay.
it under the wedding dress, poofy dress. So going into season 8 then, it is clear that Monica did not have sole possession of that meth. And the other person who did also have possession of that meth comes looking for it. Carl has been fencing it. He's been selling it off, except for Frank's, which he took at a Buddhist temple for 30 days or something. He used all the meth. I don't remember the time period, but he's basically at a Buddhist temple, trying to get right with Monica's death. On meth, you guys. William H. Macy deserved any award for this performance of Frank Gallagher on meth. It is amazing. So they all have to get the money that they owe this guy for the meth that they sold off. And then they do go dig up Monica to get the other 2 bags and give those back.
God. Oh, that is such a
Yeah, because they go to Fiona and they're like, Fiona, we messed up. What do we do? And she's like, I fucking told you so. Every one of you. I need to hear you say that I told you so and I was right and you fucked up.
Did she give him the Ivanova rules?
Yeah, she's very...
We're saying
is
is
always right.
Monica did have a plan and it completely backfires and doesn't work. I think that's points for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
I think it might be.
Yep. Monica's. Yep. Gotcha.
We get another boyfriend for Fiona, Ford, who's like a mysterious Irish carpenter.
God, he was the worst.
Yeah, he's insufferable.
He sucked so much. We didn't like Ford.
He's the guy who
furniture
didn't
guy.
ask her a single fucking question the entire time they dated.
That's right. And you didn't like the chair.
That chair.
I've got no problem with the chair. I've got every
the chair
problem
doesn't bother
with
me that much.
I don't ask you questions about you. I ask everyone else questions about you, and that's how I know you.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Him
come
and
off
that
as
chair
creepy.
deserve each other.
I did appreciate chair continuity. That chair stays around in the show. It's there for a while. So ultimately her arc with Ford is that turns out Ford had a secret wife and kid he didn't tell her about that he's separated from, but he's not completely done with yet. He also has been donating sperm to lesbian couples. So he has a ton of kids.
Her wife and kid, right to be upset about.
Yeah.
The sperm donation, I don't see any problem.
No, she was just giving him shit. She was just busting his balls about you got all these kids. Ha ha ha. That wasn't a serious dig.
Yeah.
Making some connections. Did she use the money from selling the laundromat to the gentrifiers to buy the apartment building?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So that's how she gets the apartment building. She has those tenants that she has 2 a lesbian couple that she kind of pals around with a little bit.
Oh, who was the one
and
we
Ford
knew?
does some work.
One of them was an actress. we know.
Nessa?
The one from the Orville.
Yes.
Nessa. Yes.
Yeah, she was the security officer on the Orville.
she does get some unlicensed contractor work done, and that's how the gentleman breaks his leg falling off her roof. And
Was it Frank's fault?
It was not Frank's fault. It was just a thing.
Okay.
Just like a mistake. Probably
it's
not
just
safe work conditions because we're an unlicensed contractor. She tries to be kind to them and lets them stay in an empty apartment, and then they completely steamroll over her and also sue her for $2 million.
$6 million.
For his pain and suffering. $6 million. Okay. She ultimately gets the advice to give them $10,000 to go away. And she's been in their kind of situation. So she's like, you can have this cash. She goes there with cash, smokes them out of the apartment, shows them the cash and says, I will give you this to go move to fucking California. And then I will send you $500 a month for the next 12 months to go the fuck away. And you have to sign these papers. And she starts lighting the cash on fire in a grill as they take time to think about it. And then he ultimately goes, okay, I'll just take it. So, because she's like, $2 million, this is going to get hung up in court. There's going to be appeals. You'll never see this money, blah, blah, blah. Which is not totally wrong, probably. Those things don't move fast.
Also, they probably wouldn't have won. It's not her fault.
Yeah.
So, yep. She gets them to go away, finally. And Ford is there kind of helping with that because we haven't found out about the secret wife and kid yet. Ian goes on this whole thing, this big arc, where he becomes gay Jesus. Did you see any of gay Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay,
we saw the Church of Gay Jesus, which feels like an important episode in that arc.
Yeah. It's a very sincere thing where he's trying to
keep
really
worried about
children from being hurt. No, he's being very sincere with calling it the Church of Gay Jesus. And Ian didn't come up with that. But they've started out going to conversion churches and telling people off and finding biblical support for love is love is love. But you can kind of see as this goes on that this is a manic episode with Ian.
I was wondering.
So it's not, he's sincere, but he's also not well. So complicated. He ultimately goes to jail for gay Jesus because he blows up a van. There's a van that's trying to kidnap a minor back from the gay Jesus movement to take him off to be converted, which is bad. But his parents are trying to kidnap him, and they Molotov cocktail the gas tank, blows it up, and Ian goes off to jail eventually for that. Lip is working for the motorcycle shop for Brad. He's getting in a bunch of stupid shit because he just can't leave shit alone. He's got that codependency problem.
He's sober, but still a dumbass.
In alcoholics. Right. And he just wants to save everybody and be up in everybody's business. He's trying to be in Sierra's business because her boyfriend is an addict as well. Then Sierra's dad is getting out of prison and he killed their mom, Neil and Sierra's mom. And she's worried, and he goes and he basically goads her dad into a fight so that he'll go back to prison because he violated his parole. He's just all up in everybody's business. And Professor Ewens is another one whose business he's in. He gets charged with his 5th DUI when he hits a house with a woman inside. At the trial, the woman is talking about her pain and suffering, and she's in the neck brace and whatever. And they're trying to convince the court that Ewens is sorry about it, and he's not. He didn't go to AA. He came to one AA meeting that they brought to him. And he manages to get alcohol in the trial. There's a brief recess for lunch, and he gets drunk and then tells everybody off on the stand.
Oh, man.
Is this just him?
It's not Lip's fault. He's just an alcoholic and always has been. So when we meet Fiona Dourif, his daughter, she's lived with this shit man who was an alcoholic all of her life, but all these students have these great things to say about him, and man, that just fucking hurts. I wish she'd been more of a character, but she was only in those 2 episodes, the one of which you saw. But I was like, man, that could have been something that we could have explored more with Lip, but maybe she had schedule stuff. So, Carl and Cassidy is in season 7.
You saw them
Crazy
for a
one.
minute. Yeah, she's she is. Yeah, she's got some problems.
So ultimately, Cassidy, they didn't get real married because they were too young. She follows him to military school, and military school's actually been good for Carl. Like, he's been becoming a better person there.
The regimenting is helpful for him.
Yeah, he's one of those who just needs the structure and stuff. And she goes and like lives in a tent outside of military school. And his superiors are like, hey, dude, you got to get your personal life together and you got to get your platoon together. He's got people he's in charge of, little younger cadets. And one of them, they're like, I took care of your problem, sir. And he's like, what problem? And like, they'll never find her body.
Oh my God.
Yikes.
And that's the last we hear of Cassidy.
What? She had rich family.
Yeah, that.
Her dad did not like her, though.
Oh my God.
No.
No. Her dad was like, she's as crazy as her mother. He meets Carl, and he's like, good fucking luck, basically. So they were just throwing money at baby girl, trying to get her to just shape up somehow on her own, organically. Svetlana was in the threesome, the poly,
how
the
did that
poly
happen?
relationship.
Was it just they didn't have anything to do for her now that Mickey's in prison and the brothel's shut down? So I guess you're with Kevin and V now?
She started working at the bar and then just got closer to them, and specifically Veronica. And then it was like, well, I don't mind having sex with men too, so we're all a thing now.
She had gotten married to Veronica for her citizenship.
Yeah, oh, that's right. She needed citizenship. And so she got married to Svetlana.
But was it a thing where everyone consciously and actively got into the polycule, or was it a surprise to Kevin, and that's why he had that episode where he was on the outs with them?
He was on the outs with them. Gosh, I can't remember which episode you saw.
That was because he was on the outs because of... Oh, God, what was it?
Was it because Svetlana stole the bar? Were we at that point?
No, that was before she
was-
stole the bar.
She was...
It was...
While
what
she was
it?
stealing the bar? That
I
seemed
think
to be
he
a
was.
process.
It took him a while to get on board, and he was like, "I can't believe that V is with her and whatever." But then it winds up that Svetlana stole the bar from them because she presented these papers and said, "You're adopting my kid, and I'm adopting your kids with these papers," and it was actually them giving her control of the alibi. So it was a lie.
Yikes.
Basically, when they call immigration on Svetlana, they wrest the bar back from her, control back, and then punish her as like, basically you're our slave now. Svetlana's feeling really disheartened by that, she had kind of been making a businesswoman of herself after she'd been sold into sex slavery in the United States, and she gets another former Russian prostitute comes in and is like rubbing it in her face that she's about to marry a rich old man. And so they basically kidnap her and put Svetlana in her place. Svetlana marries the rich old man and goes off to be rich and happy, I guess.
Does she take her kid with her?
Wait, I think that was...
I guess so.
Okay.
It's not really addressed.
Because we watched the episode where they were
one of your
trying to
predictions
find
there.
her sugar daddy, but we missed the
Yeah.
kidnapping.
Yeah.
Yep, that was one of your predictions, Ben. Svetlana gets married. That was episode 7. That was worth 2 points. So,
Yeah.
boom. There
So we did
All
see
right.
that.
that to the spreadsheet.
Okay, so moving into season 9. This is where we find out that Ford had the secret relationship. Fiona spirals, and she goes on the drinking binge. You saw the blackout episode.
Yeah. Rock bottom, yeah.
Yep. She can't make her mortgages on her building. She had invested $100,000 in a senior living home that was going to be coming into the neighborhood. Ultimately, the investor that she bought into this partnership with sees her working at a gas station after she kind of sort of gets herself together. And he's like, oh, well, I see things aren't going well for you. Let me just buy you out of your investment and give you your $100,000 back. She gets her like second chance. But yeah, when she hits that rock bottom, that's the blackout episode with Frank. But
the blackout episode.
Yeah.
With the
It's metaphorical, Victor.
losing.
Metaphor.
Lip's been still not dealing with his shit right. He's been trying to become legal guardian for a kid that basically got left by one of the employees of the motorcycle shop.
That's Zan?
Zan. So there was a employee, Eddie, at the motorcycle shop. Eddie's sister had Zan, but she left Zan with Eddie and went on like a bender. Zan's father's in prison, and Eddie runs off to Cancun. So Lip decides to take care of Zan. It was a weird plot. Didn't do much for me.
But Lip is not genetically related to Zan.
No, and he wants to become her legal guardian, and CPS is like, what the fuck?
No.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. It is very strange. Didn't love that whole plot, but basically he's not getting his shit together. He's getting in other people's shit. Ian has gone to jail. Fiona tries to bail him out, but she can't. And Ian decides to go ahead and plead not guilty by reason of insanity. Like, he does ultimately go against the movement. The movement did not want him to bring up his bipolar. And he does say, yes, I was bipolar. I was not on my medication. And he goes to prison for a little while. Mickey is there. Mickey goes back to prison to be with Ian.
Like, does crimes to get arrested to go to prison to be with Ian?
No, he turns himself back in from escaping from prison. But he also rolled over on the drug lord that he'd been working with so that he can get like a reduced sentence, you know.
Okay.
So he informed. Frank gets with Katie Seagal. Katie Seagal shows up.
What?
She's a therapist that he meets in like the ER. And she's not like stable. She's having her own like schizophrenic break. And
real quick, can I just list off some of the guest stars that we missed in Shameless? So we missed Casey Biggs, Rosalind Chow.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say name,
Yeah.
the actress that played Keiko, Deep Space Nine.
Guzman.
Oh, from Greendale?
Guzman, yeah. We missed, this show, and Courtney Cox.
there's also, of the Star Trek fame, there's the John Billingsley coach shows up here in season
of course,
10,
John
I think.
Billingsley, yeah.
And then Wilson Cruz at one point. Kevin goes to work.
Wilson Cruz.
Kevin goes to work at a gay bar for a little bit in a gold
Wilson Cruz was a gay
man
bartender
spe-
at the gay bar.
That's fun.
Yeah, super fun. Carl gets a new girlfriend who's also into military stuff. Carl thinks he's going to go to West Point. He's trying really hard. His girlfriend wants to go to Annapolis. This is Kelly.
Kelly, yes.
Oh, the softball girl.
Yes,
Who is way too
softball
good for
girl.
him.
Way too
Way
good for
too
him.
Good for him.
Also, Debbie develops a huge crush on her, and it gets super awkward. You saw that, yes. It was what you thought.
So Deb did attempt to hook up with Kelly?
She did. She kisses her, I think, in the next episode, and Kelly is not into it.
Oh, wow,
Oops.
okay. Points
Yeah.
for Ben. Adding more points to Ben.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Four attempts, that's 8.2.
Yep.
You're catching up, Ben.
I'm not going
Fiona's
to
whole
catch.
drunk.
I'm not
Fiona's
catching
whole
your
drunk
breath.
thing is like, it's just all Frank parallels the whole time. It's like, you know, here's what Fiona will be like if she turns into Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about Katie Seagal, but honestly, that arc also didn't do much for me. Basically, he wants another Monica and doesn't want her to take her meds so he can have another Monica. and she wants to have babies. So he inseminates her, but with Carl's sperm. Because she had frozen eggs, so they inseminate the eggs with Carl's sperm. Frank steals Carl's sperm.
So she did run off with embryos.
She did run off with embryos. They were implanted. Like, she had 6 embryos. The doctor wanted her to reduce, but she wouldn't do it. I think she successfully only has 2 babies. So, yeah, that was real.
Okay.
Still not as crazy as her character on Sons of Anarchy.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that I kind of feel like Shameless jumped the shark in season 6 a little bit.
Yeah.
And definitely jumped the shark in season 9 as Fiona does get stable. She gets her investment back and she leaves the show for good.
How does she, what happens?
Funny how the show jumped the shark.
When she gets that investment money back, she decides that she can't be here with these people to get her life on track. She needs to go somewhere different and do something new. She goes to visit Ian in prison and he says, yeah, do it. Get out. Like, take your money and go. As she's leaving, Frank is like, couldn't have done it without you. You know, that whole thing you guys saw Frank talking about, I couldn't have raised 6 kids without Fiona. And she's just like, oh, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. Fuck off, Frank.
Yep. Bye.
And she gets on a plane.
Funny how we don't consider jumping the shark the fucking landing gear landing right from an airplane right in front of
No, that wasn't it.
Sheila. Yeah.
That was really early on.
Which is never explained.
Yeah. And still, that was not the jump the shark moment. For me, I think it's Fiona leaving. Like, it's not the same show without her. But I don't know if you guys read about it, but Emmy Rossum basically had a contract dispute. She wanted to be paid more equal to William H. Macy, and they wouldn't do it, and so she left.
The thing I heard was, and that this might be wrong, I did a little bit of reading, and it was she wanted to be paid like the lead because she's clearly the lead. And they said, okay. Yeah. And then she said, and I've been the lead this whole time. You should make this retroactive. And they said, pound rocks.
Could be could be that. But, I mean...
She was the lead the whole time.
Right. William H. Macy is good and stuff, but he's
more of a background character. He's more of a vehicle for the story.
Yeah. So we move into season 10. She leaves them $50,000 of her $100,000 for the rest of the family, which is more than she needed to do. She gave them her whole life up until this point.
Yeah.
And once we get into these last 2 seasons, everything kind of has felt really non-consequential. Like, the arcs don't feel as big and important.
You just want to give us a couple quick highlights?
Yeah, Carl's got a whole thing where he wants to go become a cop since he couldn't get into West Point. He wants to do the right thing. And really, he does want to do the right thing. He witnesses at the beginning of season 10, he's like at a bus stop. He sits down. It's dark. It's late. There's an old black lady there, and she has a little conversation. She's like, I'm so glad you're here. I don't feel safe when these street lights are out. And the bus comes and he's like, hey, you want to get on with me? You know, like, they have a nice little conversation. It was her birthday. And as the bus is pulling away, it wasn't her bus. She's waiting at the stop. Carl sees her get mugged and shot. And he's really devastated by that because it's implied she's dead, that she was killed in that attack. And he tries to get the city to fix the street lights, and they're like, nobody cares about the south side of Chicago, He tries to go to talk to a news reporter he sees about this black lady that got killed, and she's like, she's not a young white girl, it's not important to us. And so he and Kelly get one of Kelly's rich white friends. They stage, he pretends to mug them on, like, they're doing selfies and stuff and taking video. And then the news comes and the streetlight gets fixed because the 2 white girls had this viral video of them getting mugged.
Wow.
So, like, he attempts to do a justice.
Yeah, that, this has big vibes of, like, that guy who went viral for going around spray painting penises on potholes.
Yeah.
So that the city had to fill them.
This is just making me think of the League when Ruxin, a Jewish character, got caught spray painting swastikas on a pothole so it would get fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carl's doing justice the only way he knows how.
Meter made 3-wheeled golf cart.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was fun.
He does a garbage man thing for a while because basically
Oh, he does?
Oh, we saw the start of that. We saw him get busted to garbage man
From doing the junior...
teaching kids torture.
Yes. So the whole thing with that is he goes to the police department. He's like, I want to join up. You got to let me join up. And they're like, no, you're too young because I guess you have to be 21. I don't know. And they're like, well, we'll put you in charge of these junior kids, right? The junior cadets or whatever that are, they're just here to get something on their resumes for college. And I think that was the "Oh Captain, My Captain" reference that you guys were wondering about in that episode.
Okay.
I think it's a reference more to Dead Poets Society because these kids are like following Carl and he's their captain.
He's their
and he's
Professor
teaching.
Keating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. I think that's it. But if it's something else, it's not super clear, is it? So, Carl's like kind of turned himself around from the crazy, like, animal murderer in season 1.
Guy
Nice
who
to see.
poisoned his cousin with rat poison.
Cousin Patrick.
Right? Yes.
Does Cousin
yes.
Patrick ever come back?
Cousin Patrick shows up briefly because he still owned the house, right? Well, he put a second mortgage on the house and didn't pay it because fuck the Gallaghers, right? And so they're getting evicted because the bank is taking back the house. Carl buys the house with all of his gun money at that point. But that's the only other time we see Cousin Patrick is when he's telling them, like, I got a second mortgage on it because fuck you guys. Like, why was I going to pay that?
Oh, yeah.
What
Well,
else happened in
do
season
we-
10? Oh, Debbie takes control of the money that Fiona leaves in season 10.
Does she lose it all?
She spends it all on designer clothes and
Oh,
doesn't
God,
tell them.
Debbie.
She says, oh, I've put it in the bank, I'll dole it out to you as you deserve it. And she's basically spent it all on designer clothes and she's taking them back within 30 days, to try to get refunds and stuff. It's not a good look for Debbie, who was so sweet and innocent in the beginning.
Debbie kind of becomes the Frank.
She kind of becomes a Frank.
She does.
Yeah.
She does some pretty horrible things.
She's not taking, like,
Frank
Franny is an afterthought in seasons 10 and 11. And she basically goes out to meet people with her, one of her friends from the original, like, Debbie Becomes a Woman arc. This friend meets back up with her, Megan, I think it was the name. And has a bunch of kids from a bunch of different baby daddies for the child support. That's her whole thing. And she's trying to get Debbie a baby daddy and accidentally turns Debbie into a prostitute.
Oh, right. Is that how she meets what's her name?
Claudia, even though she kept insisting she wasn't. She was paid for sex and then kind of a kept woman by Claudia. She gets in that mess with Julia.
What happens?
And yeah,
It
Julia.
has to explode like at prom, right? I'm gonna say it explodes at prom.
Yeah.
Because that seems the worst thing. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So Julia does exactly blackmail her and makes her go to prom.
No way.
And guess what? Debbie's a sex offender because she had sex with an underage girl. Debbie is now like 18 or 19. She's not in her 20s yet, I don't think, but she's like 18 or 19.
Oh, Debbie.
We know she is.
Yeah. Like convicted.
Oh, cruel.
Damn.
She is on the sex offender registry. Tammy has the baby. She and Lip get accidentally pregnant. There was a whole thing, in Lip's alcoholic arc. Brad is having a kid, and Brad's wife, Cammie, is let down. Cammie and Tammy are sisters. Did you guys establish
Yes.
that? Okay, good. And poor Tammy is Tammy Yeti, I guess is her full name.
That's such a silly name.
That's fun. But yeah, Brad like fell off the wagon. They had to find Brad and scrape him back together so Cammie would take him back. And Yeah, Lip just winds up taking care of other people until he has his son. There is a traumatic birth with Fred, the son. Tammy has an emergency and has to have an emergency C-section and hemorrhages and all that kind of stuff. And so Lip winds up taking care of Fred on his own for several days. Actually, they imply it might be weeks. But Tammy has a lot of baggage. I don't know if you saw much of that enough to know that Tammy was kind of unstable. Her mom died when she was young of cervical cancer, I believe. And lots of drama there. So it takes Tammy a while to bond with their son, and it freaks Lip out because Lip's she's not nurturing enough. And it's fuck off, sir. Postpartum is really hard. She's trying her best.
Yeah.
But ultimately they get their shit together. Carl brings home a coworker that becomes
From
his...
the police agency? Or
No, this
from
is...
the cop, or-
I'm going back into season 9. This is from when Carl was working at the shrimp place.
Okay,
Did
yes.
you guys even see the shrimp place?
Yes, we saw
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
His coworker Anne, her whole family is undocumented, and they're being stalked by ICE.
Oh, wow.
And he's just well, you guys can come stay with me at the Gallagher house. And so there's a fun little meta moment in there that the Mexican family is observing the Gallagher household like the Mexican telenovelas. And they're all sitting in the background talking about what's happening.
Oh, you catch it
really,
now.
really great. Yes.
That's cool.
That's worth seeing. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, season 10, not as interesting. Season 11, not as interesting. I think you've seen the most interesting part, because if you look at all the lists, that are out there about best and worst episodes all seem to fall in season 10 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
And best episodes are earlier than that. And the only one that's on the good list is Father Frank, Full of Grace.
Which
So-
we saw.
Okay. Yep.
Right. But I think season 11 is interesting in that, the COVID pandemic was in it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that made it really hard to write and to put together.
Is that why the motorcycle repair shop goes closed, or what happens?
Okay, I haven't actually seen that part. Victor, you're going to look at that, please.
Never mind.
We know it got turned into a yoga studio, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing that's a part of the whole
Well,
gentrification.
we guessed about it. I just
scene.
wanted to know the actual answer.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I don't.
Speaking of guessed about it, that's fine. Why don't we go through any unconfirmed predictions?
Yes,
right
let's do
now?
that.
Yes.
Lincoln, what are you doing up there?
Guessing? I guess no one's coming.
I have seen into the future.
You ruined the prophecy.
All of mine we covered.
Okay. What about Ben?
okay.
Did we not confirm
Ben?
anything of Ben's?
We confirmed a few. Let me see here. 3. Frank never got a job at the Alibi, right?
No.
Did Little Hank ever get Carl arrested?
No. He didn't get arrested till the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Gallagher's never... Did they ever team up with Patrick? No,
Nope.
Patrick was always the antagonist. Mandy, I have you down as Mandy gets revenge with meth. That was a prediction of yours?
No.
It said Mandy gets revenge somehow, and I had / with meth.
Oh no! She gets revenge on the first girlfriend, the one she was with the car,
Karen.
and a bonus
Karen.
point was if it
Karen.
was with meth. So
she got revenge. You
She did
get
meth?
that.
Okay, so yeah. So
No
that
bonus
is-
point.
that is a
No
point.
meth.
Okay. Let's see. 3.2. So Steve returns to the bourgeoisie. That definitely happened.
Yeah, he definitely tried.
Yeah. Did Bonnie ever go to jail?
We don't know. Bonnie was
No, no.
very sad.
Okay.
Bonnie just disappears one day, and Carl knows that her family has moved their van, and he never sees her.
That's right. The brothel did get shut down. Fiona did hit rock bottom many times. Lip got kicked out of the sorority house, so that's another point for you.
Yeah, he peed on the sorority mom.
Yes.
Remember if that came up?
One of your predictions was Caleb turned out to be super toxic.
Yes.
I'm going to say that's confirmed because
I feel like that's
he did have a relationship
he was having
with
straight
women
sex
without,
with an old girlfriend and thought it was
without
no big
discussing
deal.
it with Ian at all. Yep.
Right.
Your next prediction was Queenie dies.
Queenie didn't die.
Queenie did not die. Okay.
I'm sorry I glossed over Queenie's whole commune, but the commune was growing opium, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Frank brings some drug dealers back there because they're following Frank. I think it was Monica's drug dealer.
That's right. They had a shootout at the hippie opium farm.
And we don't know what happened. So.
There was another guest star for that one. I'll find it later. Mickey got caught. See, that was your episode 6 prediction, Ben, that Mickey gets caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he did time.
Yeah.
Laundromat gets destroyed. That actually did happen. We got.
What happens to Etta?
She
Etta
gets put in
a
assisted
home.
living.
What kills me is they don't say what happened to her cats.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if her cats got to go with her to the home or
Don't go to the home, Victor.
they glossed
Yeah,
over the
I
cats.
imagine not.
I want to believe they went to the home. Okay. Next prediction was Monica's plan fails. That's true. Did Deb ever get a payout for her injury while she was scabbing?
Yeah, they dropped the pipe on her foot.
No, and Frank cut her toes off, guys. I forgot to tell you that.
What?
Whoa!
So her toes needed amputated. Like she went to the ER and they were like, "We need to amputate your toes." But she was like, "I can't afford that." And so she just went home with the boot and like got herself really drunk and tried to get Liam to cut her toes off, I think, and he fainted. And she tried to cut her own toes off and she fainted. And then Frank wanders in drunk and he's like, "Oh, those look like they need to go." And he cut them off for her.
All of them?
And cauterized the wound. It was 3 of them.
Well, 1 foot.
Wow. So Debbie's missing toes. Good Lord.
Yep.
So she never got anything for that then. She just
Nope.
lost some toes. Damn. Okay,
Yep.
so we did confirm that Lana did get married.
Yeah.
Did Cassidy's parents ever come for Carl?
The dad showed up and was like,
Your wedding
"You don't
doesn't
want to
count."
do this, dude."
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah, it was like good luck. That
Yeah.
doesn't feel like he's coming for them.
The purity that is Viper.
Well, I wrote down as your prediction, Cassidy's parents hunt down Carl.
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then your next prediction was Fiona turns her life around. So yeah, that did happen. Deb attempted to hook up with Kelly.
That did happen.
Lip and you said you predicted that Lip and Tammy would not have the baby.
I was wrong there.
So the doctor, Veronica's doctor friend who hooked them up with the prescriptions for the abortion pills.
Is there
Did
any
she ever get-
repercussions?
No consequences.
I wrote down Ian and Mickey's love story.
Oh, yeah.
Was-
Ian and Mickey's love story is actually the grandest love story told on Shameless.
It kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like Galovich is the whole thing. It wasn't just the
Galovich.
title of an episode. It was like people had feelings about Galovich. Yeah.
And then Frank, it says something. I think your prediction was Frank goes to jail, but not for drugs.
Oh.
Oh, I remember
No,
this
no.
one.
They dumped him in the car full of drugs,
That's right.
and I said he does not go to jail for that.
He does not go to jail for that. He blames the opioid manufacturers, and the judge agrees with him, and so she gives him 30 days of rehab jail.
And for our final predictions,
No.
all 3 of us.
There's one
one very
left that is
important
a
one.
point
Oh yes.
of contention.
So, Laura.
Although, is Ben even close?
It doesn't
is-
matter.
You know what? Fuck it.
No,
It always
he
matters.
does. Yeah, 35. As
But it
of
matters.
speaking right now, he is at 35
So the 2 points will not win him
This-
anything.
No, this
3
was his
points.
3-point prediction.
I still
the
won't
3
win.
points still won't.
Yeah, but
Okay, you know what, Ben? Present your case.
Laura, I made the prediction that Frank will die in his bar stool. Frank, he is not mentally or spiritually in the hospital. He is physically in the hospital. But he is watching his family, and in the, like, he almost went, like, magical black person. Liam almost, like, sees him.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, don't do that in your finale. But he's watching down over them from his bar stool as he raises up into the Chicago skyline. Do I get points for Frank dies in his bar stool?
My dog literally just farted as you said that, so I
feel
wish
it
I
is
could have caught
important
that
to
sound
say-
effect.
I don't win anyway, and saying yes will make Xhafer mad.
It won't make me mad. I won't care because you don't win anyways. So,
I mean,
my only argument against this
Is Frank in the hospital?
is Frank is in the hospital, and very specifically, one of the tenets of Ben's faith is that the soul is undying. That is a thing that Ben believes, is that when you die, your soul does not die with you. The body dies, but the soul continues.
his soul
his
is
soul-
in that bar stool, though.
Klingons
The soul
believe the
is
same
in the
thing.
bar stool and doesn't die. The soul rises to heaven, or presumably,
No.
or at the very least, the pearly gates
No.
for judgment.
His
Not.
body explode in fire.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
So
think
it's for me. This isn't about being right or wrong. This is about Ben betraying his faith.
Oh my god!
Oh, thank you
points
for
in this game.
thank you for religion splaining me, Xhafer. I really appreciate it.
No, I know it's your favorite thing to happen to you is when people religion explain you, and especially from my atheist ass to explain religion to you is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, me who
So-
has never tried to push any of my beliefs on you or Victor or anybody. I've been trying to be
True.
the
You
chillest
haven't.
about this ever. I don't know.
You've been incredibly chill. You've been a great friend about it, which makes this knife twist hurt even more.
here's where I'm at, guys. I think that in the river of time and the circle of, never-ending space-time and whatever, Frank has always been in the bar stool. And therefore, if he is always in the bar stool, when he passes away, he passed away in the bar stool.
Yes,
That's the judgment.
3 points
That's
for
the
Ben.
3 points for
You're
Ben.
at 38.
I actually
Don't
did
say
better
I
than
never gave you
expected.
anything nice.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you're very. So this is probably one I gave you full points. You were the only one out of the three of us who did a clean sweep on our very first episode, because all three of your. Oh wait, no. Oh, I'm wrong. I might be wrong. It's because you predicted they get new dryer, which did happen. They got several new dryers. Frank lost his disability, and then two characters didn't make it to the finale.
Yep, Fiona's gone and Frank dies.
Well, he
No,
made it to the
make
finale.
it to the finale.
Oh, I guess make it through
You could
the
say
finale.
Karen. Karen was in the pilot, though, right?
Yeah,
She
that's
doesn't make
right.
it to the finale.
Karen, Sheila.
Oh yeah, but
They were definitely main characters. Yeah. Karen and Sheila.
Sheila, I would call a main character. I mean, I know she pieces out in season 5, but that woman won like Emmys.
Yeah.
For
And Karen was in the opening, the sequence where, everyone's using the bathroom.
Yeah, I think they had intended Karen to stay around longer than she did.
So, yeah,
All right.
this is. I mean, we'll go over this again in our go back, but as it stands right now, my scoreboard reads Ben 38, Victor 39, Xhafer 39.
Okay.
So,
okay.
what I'm going to tell you guys right now, figure your scores out before we get there. If we go into next episode having watched our go back episode and it is in fact a tie, I will flip the coin for you. So both have a show prepared.
All right.
All right. Well, this was great, guys. I feel
This has
like
been so
Shameless
much fun.
fans are probably going to be like, oh, you missed this and missed that and missed this and this.
We missed a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Come listen to the bonus episode that Beth and I are going to do about feminist analysis of Shameless. So
Oh, buddy. I cannot wait to hear that.
it'll be fun.
All right. Well, we'll have that in bonus feed, maybe
Yeah.
the main feed. We'll figure it out. If we get a bonus feed set up. But before we get a bonus feed set up, we have to say thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure as always. And we're recording again in like an hour.
See each other later. Yeah.
See you
Awesome.
in a little bit. So we got some other thank yous as well. Thank you, Ripe, for letting us use the song Goon Squad as our theme music. Love the tune. Thank you so much. They're touring right now. Go check out Ripe on all your favorite streaming services.
And thank you to you, the listener. You're the reason we keep coming back every week. If you enjoy our podcast, please give us a review on iTunes or Facebook. It really helps out the show. And if you do give us a 5-star review, we'll give you a shout out here on the show. And if you don't like our podcast, just keep that shit to yourself.
And please join us over at the Last Time On Listener Lounge on Facebook, or join the What Happened Her Productions Discord. Lots of really fun conversations going on over there. And we will catch you next time on Last Time On.
And I'm like fires through the night. I'm not trying to just survive. I want to live because I deserve it. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. The Goon Squad gonna show you how. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. The Goon Squad gonna show you how. No, no. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Hey, all the Goon Squad gonna show you how. Don't you worry. The Goon Squad gonna show you how. Goon Squad show you how. Oh, oh. Hey, all the Goon Squad gonna show you. No. Hey, all the Goon Squad gonna show you how.
Let's look at this.
Oh, okay.
Oopsie.
I'm going to
He'll be
bet
back.
everyone
Unplugged.
$1,000 Victor just tripped over his laptop.
Probably just the Ethernet cord specifically.
That
Did
is
you
not
trip over your
correct.
laptop?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Oh, did you predict
Was
it?
it specifically the Ethernet cord?
Yes.
These two right here, they nailed it.